Thank you for everyone who's here today. My name is Mike Masterson. I'm one of the automation specialists with the Reynolds Company out of Houston. Today we're going to be going over an Encompass partner product for Rockwell. It's one I feel we don't expose our customers to nearly enough because it does a lot of, it fills in a lot of gaps where we have on scaling our jobs, especially on the reporting process. So today we'll be going over SyTech's XLReporter software, and Peter Aardvark.
Hello, folks. Good morning to you all.
Oh, Wason, could you go next slide? Okay, because I did work on this, Peter Caprillion will be our presenter today. He's the Chief Technology Officer for SyTech. And in the background, looking at any questions you might have, we have Brian McKeska, myself, and Jesse Harvey will be in the background, and we'll be handling any questions you might have or type in. And if we can't answer them, we'll get them back to Peter. All right, next slide. Want to let you know about some upcoming things. Next Thursday, or excuse me, Thursday, October 22nd, we'll be taking a look at condition monitoring. And then the Tech Talks we have coming up, October 28th, we're going to be taking a look at a new product rollout, the VersaView 6300, which is going to be a new line of PCs and displays Rockwell has coming out. And then on Wednesday, November 4th, we're going to be doing the Automation Fair preview. Sort of let you know what you're getting into when you have registered for Automation Fair. Next slide. And that brings us to Automation Fair. Registration is open. Please go to Rockwell. You see the information in the right-hand corner, and register for it if you can. It'll be November 16th through 20th. And again, we will be doing an update on November 4th, but registration is open, and I would ask you to, everyone who's listening, to register and make sure everyone else is aware of it also. And with that, I will hand this off to Peter to get us an update on XLReporter. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And just on the score of Automation Fair, we will also be part of that. So if you want to talk to any of our specialists, this would be a good opportunity to stop by. So today we're going to talk about creating reports and dashboards for industry. It's one of those gray areas because, you know, getting good tools in the hands of engineers is a task. And I think that we have a software solution here that is going to be very helpful to you. Before I jump in, let me just give you a quick background. We've been in business for 25 years. An Encompass partner in 2001, which is an acknowledgement from Rockwell that we do play a role in completing solutions. Today, our topic is going to be version 14.1. It's not quite out yet, but I've highlighted the areas which are new. And who uses our product? Well, it's definitely not in the IT group. This is a product that's going to be used by end users, system integrators, OEMs, people on the shop floor, process engineers, maintenance people. And we do make sure we give you really good support. Let's quickly go over some of the applications of XLReporter in industry. And the first one that strikes you here is in water treatment. You may not necessarily be in water or wastewater treatment, but the thing that you should take away from this is, well, that looks very much like an Excel spreadsheet, and you'd be absolutely right. Our product embraces the workbook technology. Not to say it's an Excel add-in and that you're going to need to deploy Microsoft Office as part of your solution. No. If it were just that, then I wouldn't be wasting your time talking about XLReporter. We have actually built our own Excel engine that can do amazing things, and we're going to show some of those things to you right now. But the key takeaway here is this. If you are in a compliance or a regulatory industry, And the report itself is available maybe on the state's website in Excel format. Or if you're in an organization right now, you already have Excel spreadsheets being used all over the place. They are all readily importable into XLReporter as is, no touch-up. Wastewater treatment, same sort of story. You know, you got to produce this report, and this is a little bit more manual data entry, and we'll revisit that statement in a moment. But here's one in manufacturing. Here's one in energy management, going out there and finding out when the bulk of the energy is used. This one's a food and beverage required by the FDA. It basically is a report that depicts what was going on during the cleaning cycle of the pipework. And I believe that 20% of the time in food and beverage is spent cleaning pipework, which is a good thing, I think. Operation dashboards. This is an OEE report. It measures the effectiveness of your machines. It would be a good machine builder or a production line report. Some ISA 18.2 management. We'll talk about this in a little more detail. Some batch management. You know, if you're in a discrete manufacturing environment where things have to be reports have to be generated per batch instead of per day, then we have some tools that will help that along. More corporate summaries, more regulatory reports, more dashboards. Can we agree it's an endless task? Just for your information, what I've just shown you there are all standard templates that come with the product, and we give you a whole bunch more just to get you going. So in order to use an XLReporter, you've got to go through 4 steps: connect, design, report, and distribute. The first step, connect, is to identify the data source that you want into your report. Now that could be Rockwell's, or it could be other Encompass partner products, or it might be just standard interfaces like OPC, ODBC. These are all database centric, OLE-DB. Whatever the case, you identify your data sources, and a template can have 1 or it can have 10 different data sources all coming into the same report. The next step is to design a workbook template. We provide a design studio for you to do that. Now we build one inside Microsoft Excel for the hardcore Excel users, but we also have our own standalone design studio as well. It's got that look and feel about workbooks with a bunch of functionality that is very industry specific built into it. Once the template's created, I can then pass it onto our scheduler that will then start creating reports automatically. And this could be in web format, in PDF format, or just simply workbook format. And users can then use their own tools to view, or they can use our tools. It's completely up to you. The other thing that is the flip side of automatic is on demand. So on demand means that I can pull up a report template and say, you know, for this date and time, I'd like to just go and see what's going on in the process. Other distribution techniques that we have or features is emailing, FTP, or it's just simply a print. End of the day, we generate the report and we print it out to the paper so that somebody at 8 o'clock in the morning can review it. The product's built on features, OpenXML, which is the thing that is the library we use to encompass workbook technology, Bootstrap and Angular. If it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't matter. What the takeaway there is, it's all modern. You know, there's not some old stuff here. This is all modern technology. Something that you may want to, might bring a smile on your face is there's no limits on text templates or reports. So whatever you purchase, you can, there are no artificial limits imposed. If you're dealing with XLReporter against the historian or some data logs, and we're going to come to that in a moment, Not only can you see the raw data, but we'll be able to produce analytics for you, things like machine cycle times. If you're going into on-demand reporting and you decide, hey, I'm just going to do this from my web browser, then our web reports are responsive. And what I mean by that is that you can either look at them on a desktop, which will be the upper picture, and that's what it will look like, or you can look at them on your phone, and that's what it's going to look like, the desktop view or the mobile view. In fact, XLReporter gives you 3 views. There's the tablet view as well in between these two. SBC dashboards included, 21 CFR Part 11 features like electronic signatures are included, and manual data entry. As I pointed out, in wastewater, you'll find a lot of manual data entry, and the idea here is taking this clipboard report, as you can see here, transferring it over to some electronic format, and then having the operators go around with tablets, filling out the information, which is automatically saved to a database, over the network. Small facilities to Fortune 500. This is a notable feature of XLReporter because the other way I say this sometimes is start small and grow. Because sometimes, you look at, somebody says, hey, I'd like to create this daily report, and you sort of look at it and go, well, how much money are you giving me to do that? And they say, well, can you do it under 5,000, say? And then you sort of look at that and go, well, maybe I look for something that, can start me small. And once I understand, or that everybody understands that reporting is powerful, maybe they'll start offering me a bit more money. So if we're going to start small, this is as small as XLReporter will go. And that is, you've got your PLC here. You've purchased FactoryTalk links from Reynolds or a copy of RS links. Now live data is coming into XLReporter. And what does it do? It'll create reports from you automatically. It will publish those reports automatically on timer events. And so people are now going to be delivered reports on their doorsteps directly from data that we're collecting out of links. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail as to what this actually means, because when people see this, they say, oh, you go and collect all your data inside a database. No, we don't do that, and we're going to come to that in a moment. The next step up from that would be our historical data, and notice that we have the FactoryTalk View SE ODBC logs, the panel view logs, the Historian SE, or the OPC HDA UA. These are all classified as historians. Yes, the FactoryTalk View SE ODBC logs from our perspective is classified as a historian, which means that I can bring in the raw values from those logs, or I can bring in analytics like machine times. The other interface we have, oh, and by the way, once you've got historical data, then you can start doing this on-demand functionality where you can go in and say, give me a report from this time or this time, or give me a report for this particular batch. If you've introduced databases, so you can, for instance, go to the FactoryTalk batch, get the batch ID and the batch frame, and then from there jump over to the FactoryTalk Historian SE to go and get the historical data. There is a lot of interplay inside the product between any of these interfaces. If you just got FactoryTalk links, you could use that as a trigger for a report to FactoryTalk View SE logs. So there's interplay. Oh, going the wrong way here. And then what we have are some IoT interfaces, and they are provided to us by HMS E1 Flexi, or the ProSoft, which is going to appear in version 14.1. Oh, what the idea here is that you can actually now capture data outside of your facility and bring it to the facility from remote locations. So if you're a machine builder, for instance, and you want some diagnostic information from your machines automatically, then this would be a great solution. Or if you're a water facility and you want maybe to do some local data collection inside your pump stations, then the ProSoft would be an ideal solution. Coming in the next release in 14.1, we are, I don't know if you're familiar with the FactoryTalk platform, but they have the FactoryTalk services platform that basically is the way in which all Rockwell programs talk to each other. And in our next release, we are also going to be able to get onto that platform. So here's the platform itself. So this is all Rockwell software components. But through that, we are now going to be able to go to, say, FactoryTalk View SE Live data, or we'll be able to get to the SE data logs, which are the native files, which is, to me, that's great because we have so many customers that say, look, I have all these DAT files, and the only thing I can do with them is trend them right now. It'd really be nice if I could create reports. That's going to open up that gate. It also gives us an alternative way to go to the SE logs. And it also gives us access to the FactoryTalk alarms and events, which we already have in using a different mechanism. So let's talk about each of those interfaces individually, the live, the historian, and the database. So let's start with live. What is that all about? First thing, no database or historian required, which means that if you are an OEM, or if you're just trying to get into reporting to prove a concept, or you have if you have people filling out Excel spreadsheets today, and you want to automate that situation, then this is going to be the solution for you. It's a report as you run technology. What does that mean? It means, first of all, it's going to produce reports on time and events every day, or when a bit goes high. And then it's going to capture the data directly to the report. This is very novel. You probably haven't seen anything like this. In other words, every day at midnight, you're going to get a fresh row of data appearing inside this report, which can actually be looked at any time. There's no database or historian, so it's actually being written to this piece of paper. And then the weekly and the current information is also updated. You can set up custom report names. So you could, at the end of the week, say, okay, I want to save this as so-and-so, so-and-so, and we can start the whole thing again. But you can also do this for a batch machine cycle. In that case, we can go to the PLC and we can grab like a cycle ID and use that as the report name. Because it's just us and the PLC, we'll handshake, we'll provide them a heartbeat. And so who are our target users on a solution like this? As I said, manual data collection. Or it might be we just can't justify a historian. We got 2 or 3 tags, we want to record them every 15 minutes. Believe it or not, there are plenty of customers like that. They've just got a few tags every 15 minutes. But what it does is you start with a few tags every 15 minutes. And then suddenly process engineers start saying, well, I really could do with a lot more information, you know, maybe 50 tags every second. And now you can turn around and say, well, maybe we should start investing in a historian because I hadn't anticipated that's where you wanted to go when I purchased XLReporter. But now we're talking historian. I can move us up to a historian. And we can collect 100 points every second and still use XLReporter's investment to keep us going. And here's a case study. It's the clean in place report. So the customer wants to produce the CIP report for each cleaning cycle. So what they do is they wheeled out this big machine here and they connect it to the pipework. They have an inlet and an outlet, and then they start pumping detergent and collecting it at the other end. While they're doing that, XLReporter is capturing data as the liquid's flowing through the pipework, and it's tracing this information out so that they can get assurance that the blue line, which is the detergent, has been flushed out completely. When we're dealing with historians, things change. Things, to me, get a lot more exciting because now we can report from the historian. Again, there's no intermediate storage. We're just using what's there. So if we're dealing with the panel view plus logs, we're dealing with those CSV files. If we're dealing with the SE logs, we're using the SE logs. If we're dealing with the historian, it's the historian. But what we can do now is we can grab that raw data and turn it into analytics. So we can take a digital contact and we can say, okay, well, how long did this stay on? How long did it go off? How many times did it come on? What was the average of this? What was the min and max of that? On time, off time. It's one of the measurements that you would have to make. Once we're in the historian world, we can do on-demand reports, and it's great. Now you can just go and we can pick a template, you can put in a time frame and generate the report on demand. But don't take my word for it. Just go to www.xlreporter.net and try it out for yourself. And what I'd like you to do is try it out from your desktop. And then I'd like you to try it out from your phone. Now, our web portal is public facing. So you might be sort of feeling a bit nervous here going, well, you know, IT is definitely not going to want us to be on the internet. Well, let me assure you, what we're showing you here is purely for demonstration purposes. In practice, you would have XLReporter sitting on a box within your facility, and everybody within the facility would be using this portal. It wouldn't be going outside onto the internet. But since I said box, what is this box? Here's some good news. It's not a server. It's a plain Jane Windows 10 machine. And in fact, if you go to XLReporter.net, you're actually connecting to a Windows 10 box sitting in our office. That's good because, again, we're trying to make this sort of functionality become easy reach. And the last thing you want now is to say, oh, all right, I've got to make a capital investment on getting a server. Oh, now I need server operating system. Oh, now I need this. And and before you know it, you're $10,000 in the hole and you haven't even started buying any software. So the fact that XLReporter can just sit on a Windows 10 box means you can just take one out of your storage and dust it off and let's start using it. In fact, when we first started this portal, we were actually installed on Windows XP boxes, and it works pretty good on Windows XP as well. So the point is, it's not going to require a large footprint, and that's generally true of XLReporter. But now let's explore what we have here. If I go to XLReporter.net and choose the Process Insight template, it looks like I have to put in a date, I have to put some times in, then I hit refresh and I'm delivered the report in real time. You'll notice that first time around, it's a bit sluggish, but second time around, it's instant. Target users, people that want analysis tools. Think of that box inside your facility and that you've gone to Reynolds and you've bought maybe a wireless radio as well. So now you've got wireless connectivity to the XLReporter. Now a plant engineer at any time can take out their phone, connect to the XLReporter portal through that wireless connection and interrogate the process data. And that's good. You know, more people are looking at data, the more people that are accessing live data, the better for everybody. And here's a case study. It's overall equipment effectiveness with a twist. First of all, let me define what that OEE is. It's measured by availability, quality, and performance, which means that if your machine was 100% available and was producing 100% quality, and it was performing, in other words, it was performing at its peak production rate, 100%, then your OEE would be 100%. Likewise, 0, 0, 0 means your OEE would be 0. So OEE is some number between 0 and 100. XLReporter has a template that will calculate this for you, but it's no big shakes. What is difficult is getting each one of these, and sometimes these are not always available in the process. For instance, quality. That's actually a measure of how many good parts and bad parts we've used, and you know that's sometimes not readily available inside the PLC unless you create like a display where you know your quality people can go in there and type in a number and say, okay, there are 5 more rejects now. Anyway, assuming those values are around, then XLReporter here in this case study went out and grabbed the values every day. No, actually every hour. And here's a nice twist to this. It took the OEE scores and then pushed them back out to the PLC. So here's something new that I'm bringing to your attention, that XLReporter has the ability of taking report data, pushing it out to the PLC. In fact, it can also take report data and push it out to a database. So for instance, say the IT department wanted to know the OE scores, or more relevant, let's say the IT department wants to know how much production was made each day. You could program XLReporter to take the production information and just hand it over to the IT department. That could be a text file, that could be a CSV file, or if IT allows us, we'll write it directly into their database. Good luck with that last statement. But here's an interesting addition here. Now you've gone and bought some of these message boards from Reynolds, and they're being driven by the PLC. So now every hour, each production line is actually seeing their OE score. It's just a great little completed solution there. And it keeps everybody informed on how well or badly they're doing. Let's talk about databases. You know, databases is one of those scary topics. People don't really want to go there because here I don't know how to write SQL programs and stuff like that. Well, XLReporter makes this easy as well, because here I am. I've just connected to the Rockwell Alarms and Events database, and I can see all the columns that are available. I choose my columns. Notice I'm not writing any SQL. And then I can go in there and I can add some filters. I can add variables inside my filters so that they can be specified outside of the report. Maybe you have an on-demand report and you want the user to choose the state. Maybe you want them to choose the dates and times, and all these things in curly brackets or variables. They were all put in there automatically as you click through. And what ends up is you actually end up creating what they call an SQL statement. This is what a database can understand when we throw it at it, but those variables will have to be filled out before we give it to them. An example of using the database interface would be with alarms. Now you could incorporate alarms inside some other report, and we give you 2 flavors of alarm reports. We have some standard ones, which are a subset of the ISA 18.2 specification, or we'll give you the full ISA 18.2 gambit. Now, what is this ISA 18.2? If you've not heard of this before, what it is, it's a measure of your alarm system. So Let's just go back and ask ourselves, well, why do we have alarms inside our process? It's because we need alarms to give the operator information so that they're well aware of what's going on. So how many of you out there can go to an operator and say, well, why no? What's this alarm here, Jack? And Jack goes, I have no idea. I just acknowledge it. It just goes off every 1 hour. I have no idea what it is. Or Jill, you know, here's an alarm here. Do you know what it means? No. Is there a documentation? Nope. Nope. That's how it's been when it was installed. Well, anyway, these are not good situations because an operator is using that as one of the factors of controlling the entire process. And if they don't understand the information that's coming up in front of them, then we're not in good shape. The ISA recognized this. So what they did was they introduced these 12 KPIs that can measure an alarm system. And they also indicated the thresholds that the alarm has to be, or this KPI has to be in. So you can notice I've got three KPIs which are out of tolerance. So the next thing I need to know is, well, what's going on underneath that? And I can see here, whoa, 31% of my alarms is created by only 10 alarms. What are the 10? Well, it's this 10 here. And if I were able to go and stamp these out, think of the smile that's going to be brought on the operator's face. They are basically just not going to be bombarded by this anymore. It might be that a pressure regulator was changed and that the alarm limits now are somewhat different to what they were when it was initially installed. Alarm floods, not good things to have. 10 alarms in 10 minutes indicates when an alarm flood starts, and less than 5 alarms in 10 minutes is when a flood finishes. And only a few days ago, I looked at a customer's report. They had one line in here, duration 1440 for the day. In other words, the operator was experiencing more than 10 alarms in 10 minutes for the entire day. Makes you wonder if the alarm system is of any value whatsoever in those circumstances. Then finally, IoT. Here we have a corporation that wanted to get some basic information from each of their production facilities. So what did they do? They installed an E1 Flexi at each one of those facilities. The E1 Flexi has the capability of sending its information to what HMS calls the talk-to cloud storage. This is free, which is good, and the E1 Flexi itself is not that expensive. You can ask Reynolds about the cost of those. If you're a machine builder, for instance, we have a biofilter manufacturer. They install one of these with every one of their biofilters. Why? Because before this solution, they would tell the customer, oh, by the way, you need to check this, this, and this every 3 months. After 3 months, hey, biofilter manufacturer, the filter's not working anymore. What did you do? This, 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 and this, as we told you. Whoa, we forgot. Sorry, it was such a long time ago. So now what they can do is they can install one of these devices, capture all the data, and they can actually then tell the customer, hey, your biofilter needs this, this, and this doing. And they've actually monetized this by calling it their diagnostic package. So if somebody buys the diagnostic package, they get one of these built into the machine, and they get a report sent to them every 30 days. So all that historical data is being pushed up to the cloud, and then it's being pulled down by XLReporter, saved, and then we'll create the reports at the headquarters and then distribute them out accordingly, automatically or by manually, it doesn't matter. And this culminated to a dashboard back in Boston where they could actually look at all their machines and get an indication of their running parameters. So the big question is, how much does this all cost? Scalability is utmost. Start small and grow. Start with a small system, grow into a large distributed solution. 995 will get you live data into a report, as I've indicated. For 1595, you're going to be able to then start creating reports from your historical and your live data. If you got a database, then you're at 1995 and you're going to get one client. And then if you want to add more clients, you're at 25.99. 5. You can see there's a solution for everybody here. Start for free. Download the product from our website. It's either SyTech.com or thereportcompany.com. We introduced thereportcompany.com because people were saying, hey, I'm at CITECT.com's website and it looks like there's an HMI vendor. What's going on there? Because they were getting it confused with SyTech. Set up some connectors. If you're facing the COVID crisis right now and you're at home and you don't have access to historian or live data, not worry. We'll provide a PLC emulator, a historian emulator, get the family around. And, you know, everyone's probably fed up of playing Scrabble. How about playing Let's Create Reports with XLReporter? It's a great game. Kids will love it. And then review your media, document library, got training, videos, document. All else fails, contact us. Thank you very much for your attendance, and we'll now throw it out to some questions.
All right. Thank you, Peter. I think that went well. Currently, right now, we don't have any questions. So we'll get ready to end this meeting. But if you do have any questions that pop up, please feel free to reach out to your local automation specialist. And if we can't answer the question, we certainly will contact Peter or SyTech and get you an answer. Again, if you want to demo the software, again, get with us and we will see what we do, get you all set up on it. And with that, if there aren't any questions, we will end the meeting. Thank you very much for attending.